snacks, coins, snacks.
You ask, what do stunning coins and delicious snacks have in common?
Hi, I'm Jack McNamara, and I love stunning and rare coins. Oh, and I also love delicious and scrumptious food, too. Join me as I combine the best of numismatics and tasty treats into one show. Coin Snacks with Jack. Put down that tired bologna sandwich and spice up your lunch as I chat with some of the biggest names in numismatics and eat delicious snacks. From coin news and US Mint releases to rare coins and numismatic oddities. From my all-time favorite coins to ancients and commemoratives, get your numismatic midweek pick-me-up with Coin Snacks with Jack. Plus, we'll eat snacks, lots of them.
Welcome back to another episode of Coin Snacks with Jack. You can find me here every Wednesday on YouTube and Facebook at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. I'm your host, Jack McNamara, and every night I dream about what snack is going to be on the next show. All right, so let us know your favorite snack in the chat, and who knows, maybe you'll get to see it on future episodes sometime soon. And of course, I look forward to all the numismatic treats as well. And this week, for example, one of the big treats that happened in the news was a 2019, so a modern coin, just a 2-year-old coin, 2019 Great Britain Una and the Lion gold 2,000-pound coin. Now, it was a very big coin, but that is not referring to the weight. That's the denomination. It actually was 2 kilos, which is about 70 ounces of gold, which is a very big gold coin, sold for $360,000, which, it's not a bullion coin. That is a numismatic coin. There's a lot of collector value there. Rare coin shattered the estimate of $150,000 to $200,000 that was expected to sell for. So this is a big deal. Only 4 coins struck in this size, so it's a very, very rare coin. And this is actually a tribute coin to a very famous earlier coin from 1839, which was struck to commemorate the beginning of Queen Victoria's reign. And over a year ago, the original 1839 example in Proof 65 UCAM, which I believe is the highest graded, certainly the highest graded in UCAM, this coin sold for about $810,000. So very famous coin. Interesting to me to find that a modern tribute coin, to sell for $360,000 just shows the strength of the modern coin market right now. So, anyway, that's our little coin tidbit snack for our current event segment. So before I introduce my guest, I'd like to thank all the people who work on this show. Thanks, Joey, Colleen, Nate, Sofer, Alex, and I think we're ready. We're ready for our guests. All right, here we go. Today, we have a numismatic icon who has been in the business for over 30 years. He's graded about 10 million coins, I believe. He's written award-winning books about the American Silver Eagle and the Morgan Dollar. He is the current vice president of NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation. I'd like to welcome my friend, Miles Standish. Welcome.
Hey, Jack.
How you doing,
Thanks
Miles?
for having me on, Jack. Glad to be here.
Sure, great to have you. Thank you so much for joining us. So we have a lot of, you're a fascinating guy. I have a lot of questions for you. I think our viewers are going to love hearing about your insights into the world of numismatics. But before we get into there, Miles, I know you were very aware we always have snacks on this show. So before we get into coins, I'm going to invite Colleen out to share our snack today. What do you think of that?
Fantastic.
All right. Take it away, Colleen.
Okay. You ready for this, Jack?
I am ready.
So this week we had a special request for a special cake, a specific cake. And I don't know, maybe because this request kind of came from someone via Texas and they do everything bigger down there. That's where it came from. But this cake is from the restaurant called Claim Jumper, whose name was inspired by the California Gold Rush, because really everything comes back to coins, right?
Right.
So they call this, aptly, the chocolate Motherlode cake. So I'm going to spin it around here so you can really see what's happening here.
Whoa, there's a piece missing.
Oops, there goes my
What
entire
happened?
piece.
Hey!
As always, Jack, you have to share.
There's a piece. Hey, Miles, I think there's a piece missing out of your cake too there, huh?
I think there's a bite or two even missing, Jack. This is lovely, Colleen. Great work. Fantastic, fantastic looking cake. And I'm sure during this segment with Jack, we'll get a few bites in.
I have a feeling we'll get more than a few bites.
I think we can work that out. So let me just tell you a little bit about the cake. We have 6 layers.
We have to have Colleen speak up so we can all hear.
Okay, here we go. We have 6 layers of chocolate cake batter with chocolate chips for extra intensity. And then this 7th layer is an intoxicating chocolate ganache. And then we just top it off with the complexity and crunch of walnuts. Ooh. So, you know, we always have to do something special, special show, special guests. You got to have a special snack. You can, I've been told, you can apparently get these at the grocery store in the frozen section. This is such a popular cake. But that would be too easy, and we don't take shortcuts here. So I'm going to cut you a piece, and I hope you and Miles enjoy your cake, enjoy your conversation, and really look forward to what you guys have to say.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to enjoy it as we've been testing our video feed here and our microphones. I've noticed. I think Miles has cheated a little and may have taken a bite.
Colleen has outdone herself. This cake is spot on as a large-size Texas Motherlode cake. That, of course, the vocabulary word ganache. I didn't know that it was topped off that way, and Colleen obviously nailed it. And it's just a fantastic presentation. But if we have to time things together, Jack, we're both enjoying coins and facts with Jack at the same time. Maybe we should do that.
Yeah, Colleen is handing me a piece of cake that it doesn't even like fit all the way on the plate. It's kind of hanging off the side because it is such a giant cake. But I am excited, and I think you're right. The word of the day is ganache. So as we enjoy our cake here, Miles, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. Besides just the cake, and enjoy that piece, and then I'm going to start asking you some numismatic questions here. So, as you take a big bite of cake, when did the collecting bug bite you?
Well, you know, I grew up in the Midwest in Michigan, and it was at my mom's kitchen table that I was using my lawn mowing money to buy rolls of coins. And it wasn't too long after that, you know, I went to a small coin show in the town that I grew up in. And I think it was after that coin show that the igniter was sparked. And, you know, I've never looked back since 9-10 years old, you know, more than 45 years ago now. The interest of, you know, looking at coins, and then I continued to learn more, and then at a certain age of about, I think it was about 11 or 12, I think I sold my first coin for a profit. Wow. And, you know, you never forget that.
Wow. You know, it's funny. It's just, you know, you're talking about growing up in Michigan, and, you know, when last week Mark Salzberg was here, and I was joking about if it's the New Jersey water, because, you know, I'm from Jersey, he's originally Jersey. Kevin Lipton, you know, who was on, is from Jersey. You know, there's a lot of us Jersey guys. And his answer was, no, it's not the water, it's the weather. So do you think Michigan, those cold Michigan winters, an indoor hobby like coin collecting, that's a little part of it?
Well, you know, when you grow up in the Midwest in the cold weather, you know, mothers typically tell children, you know, either go outside or play, or go in the basement and play. And, you know, coins were something that at a young age, as a child, taught me focus. And I think that's a hard thing to train somebody unless you give them something that they can focus on. And it wasn't just, you know, looking at coins, but, you know, focusing on denominations, mint marks, dates, putting things in order of assembly. I think that creates a lot of focus for a young person. And it was a great learning tool for me at that age.
Right. So then, as a child, collecting bug bites you. You said you were 11 or 12, you made your first sale where you made a profit on a coin. When did you realize that numismatics as a career was a possibility for you?
I was traveling to a show with my father, and I think it was going into my senior year of high school. Mm-hmm. And I was going to a trade show, and I think after that trade show, I think at the time one of the grading services, ANAX, had a table set up at the show, and my dad was talking to me about a career path of what I wanted to do in life. And, I said to him, I think what I'd really like to do is I'd like to work with that guy that I met at that show that was working behind the ANAX grading table. And lo and behold, it was the summer after my senior year, that I went to summer seminar at the ANA. Mm-hmm. And I got to know Rick Montgomery, who's president of NGC, nearly 20 years at NGC, 15 years at PCGS, and I think about 6 or 7 years at ANAX. I got to work with him at the ANA. I got to work with him at PCGS, and in the last over 5 years now, I've worked with him at NGC. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of when that path took off for me as far as making it a career, who I ended up working with too, even, which was pretty unusual and unlikely, but that's the way it turned out.
So did you start working as a coin grader right out of high school?
I did.
Wow.
I did. I went to the ANA February after graduating from high school. I dropped out of college. I'd spent a semester in college, actually. And the ANA offered me a job at the 1984 Fun Show, and I went to work at the ANA February 1st, 1984.
Wow. So all those years of working as a coin grader, what's the most impressive coin you've graded?
Well, it's a long list, Jack. I think I've always said that I've basically been able to grade everything in the Red Book,
which is amazing.
All the fabulous $1804 that have been certified. I've had them in my hands.
Wow, I think we're gonna put one up here. I think this is the Mickley specimen, which I think is an NGC Proof 62, if I remember.
Okay.
If you can see that on your screen there.
I consider it. I've been a great curator of handling these coins. To be able to know that I got to take place in the certification, of all the great $1804 or 13 lib nickels. It's just a great testament of my work's joy in life, of being able to handle and touch all the great coins of both, the United States and some of them world. Obviously, my focus has been primarily on U.S. coinage, but I consider it a great joy to have been able to do that.
It's incredible. And, for anybody who's watching us today, who's newer to collecting, the coins that Miles is talking about here, $1804, I think there's 15 total known, all $1 million coins, even the lowest grade one. 1913 nickel 5 struck, again, all $1 million and up. Some multi-million dollar for both of these coins. So, as a coin collector, since I'm collecting kind of since a little kid like you are, as long as I can remember, pretty much. These are the coins I always saw in the Red Book and freaked out over. So, for you to be able to handle and grade all of these that's pretty impressive, Miles.
Yeah, the list. When you ask the question, which I get that question typically, what's the most valuable coin? What coins have you graded? When you've been in the grading industry, you get so many more opportunities than, say, if you're a single dealer who, basically only gets what's in front of him in his business dealings. But when you're in the grading business, you get everything from every direction, and you get that opportunity to handle, all the great coins.
That's awesome. Sounds like a lot of fun. Besides all these famous coins you're talking about, I mean, you're talking about some of the most famous coins there are. I know you've also worked with a lot of American icons, as individual, people who are involved with NGC's signing program. Who are some of the most iconic signers you've worked with, and who stands out to you? Who do you really enjoy working with?
Well, I've really enjoyed getting to know a lot of the coin artists that are participating in our NGC autograph program. Obviously, working with former U.S. Mint Director Edmund Moy. We've had a fabulous relationship for many, many years now. I think it's nearly 10 years now or more that we've known each other. But, John Mercanti and Joel Iskowitz and Don Everhart, just to name a few. I think I really, taken my numismatic interest to a different level with artists that aren't naturally coin collectors, but there are some of our greatest designers in the history of the U.S. Mint. Between Iskowitz and Everhart and Mercanti, there's hundreds and hundreds of designs that represent U.S. coins,
right.
Coins, metals that the U.S. Mint has produced, and learning their perspective, has just taught me a different view on coinage from their perspective. And they're fabulous artists, and it's I think there's always people that you meet in life that help you think different ways. And I think getting to know more and more coin artists has helped me learn different ways to look at coinage. And that's, it's been a lot of joy, and I've had a lot of fun with all those guys. And there'll be many, many more that we hire along the way to participate in this with NGC. Most people don't realize it, but on hand-signed autographs, NGC is the largest producer of hand-signed autographs with its signers of any autograph company in the world. And to be a part of that and to help make that happen, it's another area of interest that I've taken up for many, many years, was the autograph market. Primarily, it started out with the sports market and then developed it into the idea of matching coins and autographs together. And people kind of like that double play, and it's been highly successful.
Yeah, it's funny. I always talk about, when you get a nice work of art, you want it to have a nice frame and you want it to be signed by the artist. And that's what I always talk about, in particular with, we have the Mercanti exclusive label with his Ronald Reagan artwork that you guys do.
Right.
And, that's how I always look at it. Like, you got a beautiful work of art with this coin. You want the autograph of the signature of the creator, But I love that you talked about having a different perspective, because, I had Mercanti on here a few weeks ago, and it's just fascinating to hear, because it is a different, they come from a different direction than as a coin collector. We look at coins one way, but they're looking at it as, a form of art, but it also has to, have a function to it. So they have a very kind of specific, way they come at it, and it's just really kind of refreshing to hear. So I like that you mentioned that, because it's interesting. Speaking of Mercanti, then here, this is a good question here. The American Silver Eagle, obviously Mercanti design. How did that coin go from, initially it was issued just as a bullion item. How did this go from a bullion coin to become, my question is, a collectible numismatic coin? I would add to that the most collectible, popular numismatic coin there is right now.
Well, for a silver coin, they've made over, I think we're coming up on 600 million Silver Eagles produced. That started out with the idea in 1985 of eliminating the government's 115,000 ounces of the silver stockpile. Well, obviously, they've eliminated that and grown well beyond that. to 35 years later, and it's just it's been a magical series. I think that it needed some legs as far as years of production to help it grow numismatically, to give collectors the idea of putting together a set. Okay, and it may have been in the late 90s, I think, when a lot of that got developed, when the Silver Eagle had been around maybe 14, 15 years, where you could really get a real group of date runs from 86 to the current year. And of course now we're in 2021, and we've got a real significant set of coins from 86 to date. I promoted the grading of Silver Eagles well before even the mid 90s, both with the idea of collectors building sets when I was only a few years, and then of course the book that John and I co-authored together, which was an idea for many years. And as I got to know John better, we decided that we'd do a book together on Silver Eagles and show information, background on the whole series. And it's really become a very popular book that's going to be in its 4th edition in the next year.
Yeah, and great book, by the way. We include it with a lot of our sets and things here, so we love that book, and our collectors that we work with love that book. So kudos on the book you did with Mercanti. It's a wonderful book. I love it.
Yeah. What's great about the book, one of the original ideas, I told John, I said, John, I want to create a book with you that people want out and they want it on their coffee table. And it's funny because over the years I've had so many people, collectors, around the world, the country, that they'll send me that photo of the book on their coffee table because they like to pick it up. They like to look at different dates to find out some of the special sets that have come out, more and more information, and they like to share it with friends. And it's always great to get one of those photos that, it's kind of like in the days when the Sears catalog and the Montgomery Ward catalog were stacked on the coffee table, and it was because of the size of the Sears catalog that the Montgomery Ward catalog was a little smaller and it fit on top of the Sears catalog. So people always picked up the Montgomery Ward catalog first. But it's nice to see the Silver Eagle book that it worked out that way. And, the beautiful thing is it just promotes more and more collecting, more and more interest of the most fantastic bullion coin and numismatic coin that the Mint's ever produced. There's great coins that the Mint has made, but, as far as demand, for over 35 years, there's this thirst to get the new editions that come out from the U.S. Mint every Monday as they release coins from West Point. And of course, now we know because of the emergency issues, they've come out of Philadelphia, they've come out of San Francisco. There's just this incredible thirst for Silver Eagles. And it's been a beautiful series done by the Mint.
Yeah, they've done a great job with those coins. And, I love that you talk about your book being a coffee table. I always have it like in arm's length, like, my whole life and probably yours too. Like the red book is always like somewhere that I can grab it, and like your book is always right next to it. So it's a great book.
And then, John's design work, I'm not trying to get ahead of you on this, but, John's design work, he obviously gets credit for the design on the reverse of the coin, but, because of his work on the obverse of the coin, working on the retooling of Weinman's work from the Walking Liberty $50, there's a real personal tie for John on both sides of that coin. And of course, the success of it is they've made nearly 600 million of them in 35 years.
Right. And my next question was about modern coins. Like, where do you see the modern coin market? Obviously, the Silver Eagle is a modern coin, but we have so many other commems and things, and I feel like the market's changed so much from I'm certainly the amount of time you've been in the business and the amount of time I've been in the business, it used to just be about vintage coins, and today modern is such a huge part of the marketplace. Like, where do you see that modern market standing in the greater world of numismatics?
Well, I actually mentioned this for both, as you started out this segment with the world coin, the gold coin
and the lion, yeah,
exactly, and that's a modern coin that may have only had $140,000 worth of gold in it, and it's a modern coin for the year 2000, but it brought in excess of 300,000. And that's just part of the global strength of the modern market. But I will say it is the story of that coin, which is the imagination. And I think it's the imagination you have to remember with coins. The modern market will continue to flourish as long as the story or imagination with the design of both US and world coins continue, and that they do it in a fashion that it piques the interest of collectors. And though they only made 5 of those gold coins you mentioned, I think it was either 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think
4,
I heard
you say. It's about the imagination of the story that coin brought that money, and that story resonates with so many people, so that more than one bidder was interested in that because of that story. And it was a 69 coin. I don't know if the other coins of the mintage have been graded or not, but it's the imagination right there. And I think really this segment on, and I get asked this question a lot about the modern market. Between US and world coins, it is the imagination of the design and the story being told with those designs is what will perpetuate the interest in modern coinage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's so much of collecting is the story, the feelings that these things kind of bring in us. Like, I see a coin and it reminds me of something I looked at in a book with my grandfather as a kid or something, and it makes me want to add it to my collection. And I think you're right. I think with modern coins, it's no different than with classic coins. If it strikes people in a way that, it kind of gets their imagination running, gets them thinking about, the history, how was this coin made, why was it made, where did it come from, and I find modern fascinating because in the old days people just thought, there's such a misconception that old is better or old is rare. There's so many old coins. You can buy ancient coins that are 1,000 years old that are under $100, and you see a modern coin here for 6 figures. You see it in other collectibles too. You see the changes recently in the sports market. Mike Trout and Kobe Bryant and all these cards that are selling for $1 million. It used to only be Honus Wagner, and same thing in the art market. Now you see all these, Basquiat and Warhol and, newer artists that are just far surpassing some of these more traditional, vintage artists that we always think of as being the most valuable. And I think you're right. It goes back to the kind of just people's imagination, people's minds. What strikes something in them that, they desire these pieces, So it's
there's a lot of vintage coins. A lot of vintage coins that I like very much, Jack. I like great Barber coinage, great Morgan dollars, great gold coins. But the stories that are coming from new coins today, there's some really fantastic things being done. And I think that the way the consumer, the coin collectors and buyers have changed as far as getting information and knowledge, they really like the coins that have a lot of information that resonates of interest to them. And it may not be something that was 300 years old or 200 years old. It might be 20 years old or 50 years old. It might be more recent than most people think. So I think there's a lot of things that are going to happen positive with modern coinage in the future. And the quality of the workmanship being done by the mints today, has really improved quite a bit.
Yeah, with the technology, they can do incredible things. So we got a question coming in from Rusty online, and I'm wondering, I don't know how much detail you can give us, at this moment, or how much is kind of secret, but he's asking if you could give us kind of a step-by-step process of how you grade coins.
Well, you just basically, you flip it in the air and it comes up heads, and it's like, okay, no, I'm kidding. You didn't expect that, did you, Jackson?
No, I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was a little more, a little more scientific than that. I know it's subjective, but I thought it was a little more. There's a little more to it than flipping the coin.
Well, actually, we had a dartboard at one time. I all serious aside, because I know that's a common question amongst collectors, and God knows a few dealers have wondered how we've graded coins over the years. At least that's what I've been told. But, examining that coin, obviously in the right lighting and the circumstances of holding that coin objectively and trying to decide the grade of the coin, there's a lot of things that go into play. When you've looked at millions and millions of coins all your life, I mean, you know right away that it's either an authentic coin or you need to look at it to make sure that it is authentic. So you want to determine authenticity first. There are certain coins that come in quantities that usually don't have those issues. On a vintage coin, I always like to properly check the edge of the coin to make sure that there hasn't been any damage or any filing that's done. I always call it there's three sides to every coin. Right. You might have a coin that you want to make sure that somebody hasn't tried to improve the edges from the rim bumps that may have happened over the years, and they file the coins. And then it's the proper lighting. I always recommend that. I've always recommended an incandescent 75-watt light bulb. And so you have to have all this, as you can tell, it has to be all the right environment, and there's more things to check on than just, what grade is it? Obviously when you're determining right away, you're going to determine it's an uncirculated coin. And, with experience, you want to know where that coin, what grade that coin falls into. And then after examination, you determine that grade. But that's, it's a lot quicker than that when you've had a lot of experience. But there's several steps involved there before you determine that grade. And I always like to get a feel for the coin, looking at it both sides first, and then going back typically to the obverse to decide on that grade of the coin.
And I know you're talking about lighting, and I know, it's funny, when I worked at Stacks in the auction room, I would see, a lot of guys have different lighting they prefer. Some guys like a halogen light. I remember one guy would bring his own light bulb with him and screw it into the lamp, incandescent light. But in the grading room, you guys have no overhead light, right? You just have like a little table lamp, right? So it's really focused lighting, correct?
Well, it's usually, I always call it the bent arm lamp. You can buy them at Target. They're, I don't know, less than $25. And it usually has a good globe on it so that the light is then intense. And then I don't like to use anything less or higher than a 75-watt incandescent light bulb.
And in the grading room at NGC, does everybody use a 75-watt incandescent, or even within NGC, are there different preferences that people have, or is everybody uniform?
That's the comfort of the person.
Okay, so some people do have, it's what you're using. Like, I like the halogen because we had them on the counter, we had them at Stacks, and I got used to it. But it is a different look. Like, some things show more, the way they pick up the marks and things, and, I've been to coin stores with no table lamps, and they have just fluorescent overhead. I can't tell what the coin. Like, I can't tell if it's. I can't tell anything.
Well, there's certain trade shows that if you're out on the floor at a coin show, you always want to know what kind of lighting you're working with, and kind of adjust to the room based on different table lamps that are available to you, so you can get an idea of how things look to you.
Right. It is fascinating. I just went blank. I had a question and I lost it. Let me go back to my notes.
You probably need a bite of chocolate cake, Jack.
I might need a bite of chocolate cake. You're right. It was relating to coin grading, and it wasn't the lighting. It was
Miles, how long does it take you to grade a coin generally?
Did you hear that one from Sofer?
No, I did not.
All right, Sofer will ask again. If you want, you might have a chance to get another bite of cake in while he asks. It's up to you.
All right.
Our friend in chat, Evan, wants to know, how long does it take to grade a coin generally?
Well, it really depends on what you're looking at. But, if you're looking at a Morgan dollar or a $20 gold piece, you should be able to determine the grade, with a matter of, moments. It could be 5 seconds to 20 seconds. And then there's some things you want to look at longer. It's interesting. I always get that question. I always found it unusual what people gain from that, because it all matters on what the coin is. Mm-hmm. The time that you take on something, is determined by whatever the issue is. But I've looked at a coin, turn it over, look at the back, look at the front, and I might have a feeling. So, that I've never really necessarily put a stopwatch on it, but, I don't know if that's 3 seconds or 9 seconds or 15 seconds, but all depending on what you're looking at will determine the amount of time that you need to spend looking at the coin. More cake, Jack.
More cake. Oh, I remember what my question was. Is relating to grading. I think a lot of people who are newer think as you get up to these higher levels, mint state, 60 and higher, uncirculated grades. I don't think a lot of people realize, at least for me, and other people have said the same thing, but I want to hear your take. Do you find it harder to grade circulated coins versus uncirculated coins? I mean, I think mint state coins are easier to grade for me, but I just want to know your take on it.
I think that uncirculated coins are easy to grade. Mm-hmm. I think that I've always said this, that the best people that can grade circulated coins mm-hmm. are individuals that worked in a coin shop.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
because that's what comes in over the counter primarily.
Exactly. That's kind of like anything in life. Once you do something all the time, you become pretty prolific at it.
Right.
You become really, really good at those types of coins. And I've probably been around over 300 test graders in my life. So, I've seen all the guys that could grade in the grading room, and the ones that could and the ones that couldn't. Uh-huh. The ones that were really good in certain areas and not good in another. But I've always said that a guy that works in a coin shop mm-hmm. is many times the most qualified to grade circulated coins. Uh-huh. Or they tend to have strong capabilities in that area. Uh-huh. That, remember, if I started out in the grading area, in the grading service business in 1984, if you think of the 100 million coins that have been encapsulated since 1984, that means a lot of great coins have been certified.
Right.
I'm not saying there aren't more out there.
Right.
But over time, the average has to kind of deplete itself of the average grade. So,
right, at least for classic coins.
Excuse me?
I said at least for classic coins. Modern coins are a different.
Exactly. But if you separate classic coins and modern
right.
coins, the average quality has had to have gone down just because so many have been graded since the early 80s.
Right. Well, I think in the last 10 years or so, we've seen kind of the amount of modern coin grading taking off because people now it's something that is widely accepted and expected, really, of collectors. They want their coins graded, whether they're classic or modern, which I know you said you've been kind of, we're pushing to grade Silver Eagles since, even the 80s, but it kind of really didn't start to begin getting popular, I guess, till after the year 2000, and then it really, the last 10 years, now it's, like I said, expected, not just, desired by some people. Pretty much everybody, most collectors want their coins graded.
Right.
The same thing though with classic. You see a lot of these coins where, people didn't submit coins unless they were going to be MS63 or higher, but now because these higher grades are getting absorbed into collections and you can't find them, and people do want all of their coins graded, you're seeing, like you're saying, you're seeing more, Morgans and things in MS62 and MS61, where in the past, people didn't bother grading them, and it just shows how coin grading, I think, has become so, like I said, not only accepted but now expected in the marketplace. People want their coins graded, and these coins, like you said in the past, that maybe wouldn't have, people wouldn't have graded, now the coins that haven't been graded yet are a little bit lower grade than the ones that people were submitting 20 years ago.
Well, if you go back 35 years ago, the number of circulated coins that come to the grading services has grown immensely. Just because there's a wider range of collectors today, there's the demand today, and people have made markets in certain circulated coins that people weren't grading 20, 25, 35 years ago.
Right.
People want to build a nice set of circulated Morgan dollars, or they want all the key dates of the Morgan series or the Barber series, and they'll even take it in a circulated grade, where in the beginning it was all about the low population of high grade coins.
Right, and now people, because they're so accustomed to collecting certified coins, maybe for modern coins where they're in a holder, people aren't putting their coins in an album as much as when we were kids.
Right.
When grading started, for example, my grandfather got me into collecting. He had a collection of bust half dollars, and he had them in a Dansko album. Now, my grandfather passed in 2001, so 20 years ago. He had bought one certified coin in his years of collecting. He started collecting in the 1930s or 40s as a kid, and he bought one graded coin, and you know what he did with it? He broke it out and stuck it in his Dansko album. But I think where I'm going with this is a shift in the way people, they want their coins, even if it's a lower grade. They want to know it's authentic. There's a big fear of that because of these coins that are made in China and things, that it's they want to know it's authentic. But I think the holders, people used to want it graded just to know it was authentic and know what the grade was. But over the years, people have accepted it's such a great way to store them. They're so well protected on top of it. I handed my son an ultra high relief when he was 2 years old, and I wasn't worried about it getting damaged because it was in an NGC holder.
But see, that's what rich parents do with little kids today. They let their 2-year-olds hold multi-million dollar coins in holders. I love rich people.
Well, I don't know if I'm rich. It wasn't my coin.
Okay.
I didn't own it, but I did have it in my possession for a little while.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jack, I think you said it earlier, and this is where the market has changed so much, and that is the certified NGC holder. I always say that a coin, it's great to hold a coin, great to grade a coin, but when you get it in the holder, it's kind of like buying a piece of art that you take it to the frame store, and after you get it back and it's been framed, or maybe it's an autographed photo, or maybe it's a family picture. It's amazing what the holder does for a coin is what a frame does for a piece of art or collectible that's put in a frame. It's just, and it's caught on.
Right.
People have gotta have it, and that's why it's expanded to meeting the interest of so many types of collectors. I will say most of that's been driven by both, the internet and television that has brought the mainstream people that maybe weren't coin collectors that we ignited their bug of collecting. We gave them the spark they needed, and certified coins are a safe way for them to get involved in that marketplace.
Right. It gives people a whole new comfort level because, you don't have to worry about my word, they, or whoever you're buying the coin from, you don't have to worry. You have this third party that's, not buying, not selling, just authenticating and grading. And it's a great insurance policy for people. They can sleep well at night knowing they bought what they thought they bought.
Yeah, if you wanted to collect a 09S VDB penny or a 16D dime, there's only one way you'd buy it, and that is it's certified. And like I said, I think that NGC holder, is a great finishing frame to really making it special.
Right. And those are great examples of coins that, before the advent of coin grading, there were notorious fakes, like so many added mint marks of, real coins, but a fake mint mark. I heard a story of somebody at a coin show in the 70s or early 80s where they were looking at a SVDB penny, and another dealer walked up with a thing of like alcohol or something and dropped with a dropper on the coin, and the mint mark just started like swimming away.
We call that in the grading room. Over the years, if you can imagine, in 35 years and 100 million coins through the process that I've been around, we've had a few mint marks fall off in transit. we call that "pop goes the mint mark."
That's hysterical.
Sometimes that glue or soldering they used on a mint mark, maybe done in the 70s or the 80s, when that was pretty commonplace of added mint mark coins. You'll see in the flip of the coin, guys submitted a 93S dollar, and right in the bottom of the flip there's a little S.
That's hysterical. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
Yeah, lost it or fell off in transit.
That's too funny. That's too funny. Well, we talked a bit about modern coins and silver eagles. You're probably aware tomorrow is the release of the 2021 Proof Silver Eagle. So I have to ask you, what do you think about the decision to replace the new reverse, the reverse with a new reverse later this year? What's your thoughts on that?
You're talking on the Silver Eagle reverse,
right? Yeah, tomorrow's the last version of the last release of the old version, but the newer version's later this year.
Right. I think change is good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fantastic that the popularity of Silver Eagles has carried on the way it has for 35 years. I think the Weinman design that is the obverse of the coin that I told you that John Mercanti did all the enhancement work on. I think it's great for collectors. I think it's great for our industry. And I think it's great for buyers to get a chance to collect both of them. And I've seen the design work for both the silver and gold that'll be coming out later this year. And I think they did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's put that up here. I think we have the image of the new work here. There it is.
Right.
So you're giving it a thumbs up.
Yeah, and NGC has signed up exclusively Michael Godioso, who is the engraver of this coin.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll be exclusively signing autographs for NGC. No, I give it a huge thumbs up. Like I said,
yeah, I'm a big fan. I think it's, Mercanti talked a lot about how he wanted a really heraldic eagle, not necessarily realistic. So I like that they kind of just took it a whole different direction and went with this kind of very realistic in-flight version of an eagle to really kind of change it up a bit. And we're excited to, as we've had the Mercanti signature labels here for a while, and we're excited to start offering the Gaudioso signatures on the new.
I actually think, your listeners might be wondering about that photo that came up. That is the silver design, but it has the wrong legend around it for $50 gold.
Oh, that's
so the photo wasn't correct.
Let's put it back up for a second. Let me see. I didn't even notice that. Because from my understanding, Miles, was when they submitted designs, they could be used for either coin.
Right. These are from the original designs.
So
the design of the eagle is correct.
Right.
But that would be for the 1 ounce silver.
Right. They changed it. Right. Because these are, when they submitted designs, they could have either been used for the silver or for the gold. This one happened to be chosen for the silver, but you're right. This mock-up, I didn't even notice.
Just wanted to mention
$50. That's a good catch. I guess as a coin grader, you actually do pay attention to detail, huh?
Well, you know, I know something. That's how I'm trained. My wife hates to take me grocery shopping the way I pick out fruits and vegetables. I'm looking at the peaches, looking at the apples, feeling the lettuce.
What about that cake? Do you look at the cake like?
Hey, she nailed the cake.
So besides the new Silver Eagles, there's some other very exciting things I'm sure you're aware of. 2021 is shaping up to be a very exciting year with that new Silver Eagle reverse. But also we have that release of the Centennial piece in Morgan dollars this year. I think that's going to be very exciting. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of... You guys are going to be busy grading coins this year.
Yeah, but that series right there, I think I'm going to compare it to something else that I think is pretty fantastic. Obviously, you know what I think about Silver Eagles and the whole series. Mm-hmm. But this is obviously this is going to be a 1-year issue, I believe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what they've said.
And I always say things, that's to my knowledge. So I'm not trying to say that that's absolute. But I think the popularity of this series, which ends up being bigger, but to another friend or one I'm a big fan of, is the 2009 gold ultra high relief 1 ounce gold coin.
Yeah, great coin.
But I think those two series after the Silver Eagle are some of the most fantastic design work. Individual coins to come out from the U.S. Mint are just fantastic. And I think the various different mints they're going to use to produce those coins, I think they're going to be a firestorm of breeding new collectors and making a lot of current collectors very, very happy.
Right. You think
I'm very bullish on these series.
Yeah, I am too. Do you think it'll spur more interest as kind of, it almost feels like, modern has kind of, modern versus classic, like modern is kind of the more popular at the moment, but do you think with these new reverses it'll start bringing kind of people looking more at those classic designs again, bringing more collectors back into Morgans and Peace dollars?
I guarantee you it'll spark the interest of people to also collect Morgan dollars that haven't been collecting them maybe, or just add more feverish and more interest to the series. Mm-hmm. And it'll introduce them to collecting across the board.
Right. And with that, what do you see as the future of numismatics?
Well, you can tell that when I was talking about getting to know artists a lot better from the U.S. Mint that I get to work with, you can tell that it's about design. Mm-hmm. And if you have the right theme, you tell the right story, you spark people's interest really worldwide, because it's not just here domestically in the United States anymore. I get very passionate. When you brought up the 100th anniversary of the 21 Morgan and Peace dollar, it all goes back to telling the story, telling the theme of the story, carrying it out to the Carson City Mint or Denver or San Francisco or Philadelphia and West Point and New Orleans. That's great marketing, and it also ties to the collecting of interest of those different mints. And I think it's fantastic. And I think that um, the collecting market is healthy and strong for many, many years to come in the modern segment and in vintage.
And then with that, do you have any advice for collectors?
Buy what you like.
Mm-hmm.
Buy what keeps the fire burning of your interest. Decide on what you like and build a collection of what you like. I always say buy what you can afford, buy what you like, but ultimately just buy what you like. And it doesn't have to go with what I say, but make up in your mind what really, really ignites that burning desire to collect what you want to collect.
Mm-hmm. I love that because I get a lot of people asking me like, "Oh, what should I buy?" And I tell people the same thing. Pick what you like. I can help you find the best coins, like the best examples. I can go and find rare, high grade coins, but you have to give me like what is it that like you said, what is it you like? I'm not going to tell you to collect 20 libs or Morgans. You give me that bit of info, and I can help guide you and I can help advise you. But I love that advice. Buy what you like, because some people come in and some people look at this, they think it's an investment vehicle, and I always tell people this is not an investment. We do not sell investments. Some stuff over time sometimes goes up, sometimes goes down, but it's not investment. But what I can do is help you. You got to tell me what you like, and I can get you the best possible quality of those coins. So I think that's great advice.
Sometimes I've told collectors, if you're having a hard time making a decision from one thing for another, I've literally told them, why don't you flip a coin? And I'll tell you, when you flip that coin, you'll know the answer when the coin's in the air of what you like. Or what decision you want to make, because it'll lead you to that answer.
Right, you start rooting for which side you want the coin to land on.
Isn't that funny? You can't make a decision, but you get that coin in the air.
And then you're like, oh, I hope it doesn't land that way.
You'll know the answer while the coin is in the air.
That's funny. Well, that's great. This has been really good. I mean, you're just a fascinating guy. I've enjoyed spending time with you many times in the past and having talks with you about these things. It's very exciting year 2021 here. You guys are going to be busy as heck over at NGC with all the different ASE reverses, all these different Morgan and Peace dollars. I mean, as if you weren't already busy enough. I know you guys are going gangbusters anyway. So it's exciting to have you here. Before you go, we do have one question from Sofer here, who always has some insight, sometimes from viewers. This one I think he composed himself. This is an important question, Miles, so put on your thinking cap.
I mean, he wrote it down all by himself?
He wrote it down all by himself.
This is the first question I've ever written, Miles. I just learned about it. Are you ready?
Yes.
What gear does a numismatist put their car in when they want to move forward?
Well, I have an automatic, so I've only got one choice. Drive.
What?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Go ahead, tell me.
Obverse.
Well, that's the reason why somebody told me a long time ago, if you're a coin collector, you're a coin nerd, right?
We know you like jokes, Miles. I thought we'd try and get you with that one.
I liked it so much, I'm not going to use it. How's that?
Really? Oh, man. You don't put your car in obverse when you want to get out of the driveway?
I like that. That's good.
Anyway.
that replaces one of my oldest coin jokes. What kind of horse is on the Delaware Quarter?
What kind of horse is on the Delaware Quarter?
Yeah, it's Caesar Rodney who rides on that coin.
Right.
And I'm sure there's hundreds of plethora of people that are watching you and I right now during Coin Snacks with Jack that know the answer. But what type of horse is Caesar Rodney on that Delaware quarter?
A small horse?
No, that would be a quarter horse.
There you go. You're able to one-up us in our coin nerd numismatic jokes here.
Yeah, it's like Mark Salzberg says, keep your day job, Miles.
Oh, man. Well, thank you so much, Miles. This has been great. Really appreciate you coming on, sharing your knowledge and your experience. Always a lot of fun. And for all our viewers, please come back again next week at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. Remember, we're streaming on YouTube, Facebook. Don't miss out. Next week, we're going to have another special guest. We're going to have Dwight Manley, who is known for his role in distributing the sunken treasure of the most iconic shipwreck in U.S. history. You won't want to miss this.
Deep.
That'll be deep. Yes, there we go with some more coin jokes. Thanks again, Miles. Really appreciate it. Good seeing you.
Thank you, Jack. Love being on. Great cake.
And thank you, everybody else who's been joining us today viewing. See you next week. Stay safe.
Thanks for watching Coin Snacks with Jack. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss an episode of Coin Snacks. Visit us at rarecollectiblestv.com.